Most people think being strong means never feeling pain. That's wrong. And it's actually the opposite of what real strength looks like. There's a guy who lost everything: his home, his freedom, his health. He was exiled from his own country, thrown into slavery, and beaten so badly one of his legs was permanently crippled for life. And yet, this same man became one of the calmest, most respected teachers in the ancient world. People traveled for days just to sit in a room and listen to him talk. His name was Epictetus, and what he figured out over 2,000 years ago is something almost nobody today actually understands. He didn't become strong by avoiding pain. He became strong by changing his relationship with pain completely. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how he did that, and how you can start doing the same thing, starting today. If you're someone who gets knocked down by every little thing, a rude comment, a bad day, someone not texting back, a mistake you made 3 years ago that still replays in your head, this video is for you. Not because you're weak, but because nobody ever taught you how strength actually works. So let's get into it. Here's what most people get wrong about becoming unshakable. They think it means suppressing emotion, faking a smile, pretending things don't hurt, acting tough on the outside while falling apart on the inside. That's not strength. That's just a mask. And masks crack eventually. Real strength, the kind the Stoics talked about, isn't about pretending nothing affects you. It's about training your mind so that fewer things actually have the power to affect you in the first place. There's a difference between hiding pain and not creating pain to begin with. Think about how most people react to life. Something happens. A boss yells at them, a friend cancels plans, a stranger cuts them off in traffic, and within seconds, their whole mood is wrecked. Their peace, their focus, their entire day, handed over to something completely outside their control. That's the trap. We give away our peace for free, constantly, to people and events that don't even think about us 5 minutes later. The Stoics noticed this same pattern happening to people thousands of years ago. Nothing has changed. Humans still do this. We still hand our inner peace to strangers, to bad weather, to comments online, to things that happened years ago that we can't even change. And the wild part is, most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think their anger, their anxiety, their constant irritation is just who they are. They think it's normal. They think everyone feels this shaky, this reactive, this at the mercy of outside events. But it's not normal. It's just common. There's a big difference between those two words. Here's something worth sitting with. Every single person you've ever admired for their calmness, their patience, their steady presence in a crisis, none of them were born that way. Not one. They built it piece by piece, usually through some kind of hardship that forced them to figure this stuff out. Nobody wakes up unshakable. It's a skill, and skills get built through repetition, not luck. And once you start looking at it as a skill instead of a personality trait, everything changes. Because personality traits feel fixed. Skills feel learnable. You wouldn't expect to play guitar perfectly on your first try, so why do you expect emotional control to just show up without practice? Quick question for you. Think of the last time something small completely ruined your mood for hours. A comment, a look someone gave you, a text that never came. Drop it in the comments if you want, because you'll probably notice, just from typing it out, how small the actual event was compared to how big it felt in your head at the time. That gap right there, between the size of the event and the size of your reaction, is exactly what this whole video is about closing. So how do you actually fix this? How do you get to the point where insults don't sting the same way, where setbacks don't destroy your whole week, where you can walk through chaos and still feel steady? It starts with one core idea. This idea is the foundation of everything the Stoics taught, and once you actually understand it, your whole perspective on life shifts. Here it is. It's not events that disturb you. It's your judgment about those events. Let that sink in for a second. The event itself, someone insulting you, losing money, getting rejected, that event by itself has zero power over your emotions. What actually disturbs you is the story you tell yourself about that event. Epictetus put it simply. He said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things." Read that twice if you have to. It's one of the most important sentences ever written about the human mind. Think about it this way. Two people get the exact same negative comment on a video they posted. One person reads it, shrugs, and moves on with their day like nothing happened. The other person reads it, feels their stomach drop, thinks about it for hours, maybe even loses sleep over it. Same comment, same words, two completely different reactions. What's the difference? It's not the comment. It's the meaning each person attached to it. One saw it as meaningless noise from a stranger. The other saw it as proof that they're not good enough, that people don't like them, that they're failing. The event was identical. The suffering was not. And that's the whole secret hiding in plain sight. Once you really absorb this, you start realizing something powerful. You have way more control over your emotional life than you ever thought. Not control over what happens to you. You'll never fully control that. But control over what those events mean to you. And that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ran one of the largest empires in human history while dealing with wars, plagues, and betrayal from people close to him, wrote himself private notes to remember this exact idea. In his journal, which we now know as Meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about who wrote that. Not some guy sitting in comfort with no real problems, a man running an empire, dealing with actual life or death decisions daily, constantly surrounded by people trying to manipulate or undermine him. And even he had to remind himself again and again that his peace didn't come from controlling the outside world. It came from controlling his own mind. That's the whole game. Now here's something that makes this even more useful. This idea isn't just philosophy for its own sake. It's practical. It means you don't need your circumstances to change in order to feel better. You don't need the rude person to apologize. You don't need the situation to resolve. You don't need life to slow down and give you a break. You just need to change the lens you're looking through, and the pressure drops instantly. That's a completely different kind of power than what most people are chasing. Most people are trying to control their environment, get the right job, the right relationship, the right amount of money, thinking that once everything outside lines up, they'll finally feel calm. But the Stoics flipped that whole approach. They went straight for the mind first, because they knew the outside world was never going to fully cooperate anyway. And here's the part that most people miss completely. Waiting for the outside world to finally be perfect before you feel okay is a losing game. There's always going to be one more problem, one more difficult person, one more thing that goes wrong. The outside world is never done throwing curveballs at you. Ever. Not for anyone. Not even for an emperor. So if your peace depends on the world finally cooperating, you will spend your entire life waiting for peace that never actually arrives. Here's a good one to think about, and maybe even answer in the comments. What's one event from your past that you're still giving power to today, even though it happened years ago? Naming it out loud, even just to yourself, is usually the first step to loosening its grip on you. Now here's where it gets real. Because knowing this idea and actually living it are two very different things. Let's go back to Epictetus for a second, because his story is the ultimate proof that this stuff actually works, not just in theory, but under extreme pressure. Epictetus was born a slave, not metaphorically, literally owned by another human being with no rights of his own. His master, a man named Epaphroditus, was known for being harsh. Historical accounts describe an injury to his leg that left him permanently disabled for the rest of his life. Now think about that for a second. This man had every single reason in the world to be bitter, to be angry at the universe, to spend his whole life resentful, broken, defeated. Instead, he became one of the most respected philosophers in Rome. Emperors respected his teachings. People traveled long distances just to learn from him. He taught people how to face hardship, how to stay calm under pressure, how to separate what's in their control from what isn't. How does someone go from crippled slave to one of the most influential thinkers in history? Not by pretending the pain wasn't real. The pain was very real, but he refused to let that pain define his mind. He drew a hard line between what happened to his body and what happened in his head. His body was broken. His mind stayed free. This is the whole point of Stoic philosophy, distilled into one image. You don't control what life throws at you. Illness, loss, betrayal, failure, none of that is fully in your hands. But your response, your judgment, the meaning you assign to what happens, that's yours. Nobody can take that from you unless you hand it over willingly. This is what real strength looks like. Not never feeling pain, but refusing to let pain control your mind after the fact. Think about your own life for a second. How many hours, days, maybe even years, have you spent replaying something painful in your head, giving it power over your mood, your decisions, your energy, long after the actual event ended? The event happened once, but you relived it 100 times in your own mind, and each time you suffered all over again, from something that isn't even happening anymore. That's not strength. That's a habit. And like any habit, it can be changed. What makes Epictetus' story hit even harder is that he never hid what happened to him. He didn't pretend he wasn't disabled. He didn't pretend slavery didn't leave scars. He talked about his limitations openly with his students. The difference is, he simply refused to let those limitations become the story of his entire identity. He was a man who had a broken leg, not a broken man. That distinction matters more than people realize. Most of us take one painful chapter and let it rewrite our entire self-image. One rejection becomes, I'm unlovable. One failure becomes, I'm not good enough. One hard year becomes, my life is falling apart. Epictetus refused to let any single chapter define the whole book, and that refusal is exactly what turned a crippled slave into one of history's most respected minds. There's a lesson buried in that refusal that's easy to miss. He wasn't trying to be inspiring. He wasn't performing strength for an audience. He was simply solving a real problem in his own life, the same way you or I would try to fix any other problem. He asked himself what was actually in his control, and he stopped wasting energy on everything else. That's it. That's the entire method. No mystery, no secret trick, just relentless focus on the one thing that was always his to control. Serious question for the comments, if you're willing to answer it honestly. Is there a label you've been carrying that came from one bad chapter of your life, but you've let it define the whole story? You don't have to share the details. Just noticing that it exists already starts to loosen how much power it has over you. So here's how you actually start applying this in your life, starting today. The next time something upsets you, someone says something rude, you make a mistake, life throws a curveball. Pause for 1 second before reacting. Ask yourself one question. Is this actually something happening to me right now, or am I creating suffering in my own head about it? Most of the time, you'll notice the event itself is small. It's your mind that's blowing it up into something huge. The insult was 5 seconds long. The mistake happened once, but your mind can replay it for hours if you let it. Separate the event from your judgment of the event. That's the whole practice. It sounds simple, But it takes real repetition to actually build this as a habit. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily muscle you train, the same way you'd train your body at the gym. And slowly, over time, you'll notice something changing. Things that used to wreck your entire day will barely register. Comments that used to keep you up at night won't even cross your mind an hour later. Not because you're pretending not to care, but because you've genuinely trained your mind to stop handing away your peace for free. That's what Epictetus figured out while enslaved and disabled. That's what Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of while running an empire under constant pressure. And that's exactly what you can start building for yourself. One moment at a time, starting with the very next thing that tries to knock you off balance. You don't need to control the world to feel steady. You just need to stop letting the world control your mind. One more thing before you go. This isn't about becoming cold or numb. You'll still feel things. You'll still get frustrated sometimes, still feel disappointed, still feel hurt when something genuinely matters. That's normal, and the Stoics never said otherwise. The goal isn't zero emotion. The goal is emotion that doesn't run your entire life for hours or days at a time. There's a huge difference between feeling something for 5 minutes and carrying it for 5 years. And that difference right there is the entire gap between the life most people are living and the life the Stoics were pointing toward 2,000 years ago. It's still available to you. It always was. Nobody needed permission to start using it. You just needed to know it existed. The people you admire most for staying calm under pressure aren't lucky, and they aren't wired differently than you. They just started this practice earlier and kept doing it longer. That's the whole difference. There's no shortcut, no trick, no hidden secret that skips the repetition. You start where you are, with the very next thing that tries to upset you, and you practice separating the event from the meaning you give it. That's it. That's the entire path. One last thing before you go. If you actually try this the next time something small tries to ruin your day, come back and drop a comment on how it went. I genuinely want to know if it worked for you. If this actually helped you see things differently, hit subscribe, because there's a lot more of this coming.